Wrong.
Now, somewhere, somehow, someone's gonna pay.
That sucks because I just bought the Commando VHS, but I'm not at home to show you guys. But welcome to this month's episode of Seamen on Film. My name is Adam Macho, and if you're first time watching, don't forget to give us a few likes and some subscribes and share this video out with people. This is Seamen on Film. What we do is we watch our favorite movies and then we discuss to determine whether they would make a good deployment film. With me, I have my guest panel, starting with the femme fatale Bree Blitz. We got Rick Vendetta, Blockade. That's a straight up G.I. Joe name. Jack Dagger. And last but certainly not least, Mason Bricks. And if you couldn't tell, we are discussing the 1983 85 film Commando, starring the one, the only Arnold Schwarzenegger. Really quickly, when I got this category, did you guys pretty much guess what I was gonna pick?
Kind of. You've been asking for it.
I mean, there's so many good films in that.
You could have picked
the heyday almost of action films. Really,
you could have picked Running Man. You could have picked Denny Schwarzenegger or Stallone.
Yeah.
Let's start off with the first impressions. Starting with Sabrina or Bree Blitz.
Is it too hard to say? Get over it. First impressions, I thought it was a fun watch. I thought I had never seen it before, but I did remember it once we got into him walking through the airport all muddy and then yelling at the guy who's hitting on the lady. And then I was like, oh, I think I have seen this before. And it all kind of came back a little bit as we went. I just blocked out most of it, apparently. Yeah. And then, I came up with an entire other plot line for this film that I would like to get into later. So Adam, when you want me to do that, you let me know. But overall, I thought this was fun, and illogical and ridiculous and exactly what it should be, I guess.
Rick Vendetta.
I want to follow up on Bree's illogical about the first two killings we're about to see here. This was the plan. He's like, if I just steal the Cadillac, he's going to jump on the hood and hit his head and shit whenever I don't know if that was the plan. So should I talk about my first? You want to talk about my first time I saw it when I was 8?
No, just this when you heard the announcement.
I heard the announcement after my erection went down after 4 hours. I was ready to turn it on and watch it right away because I have seen this movie maybe 15 times in the past 3-4 months, when it was on the HBO Cinemax rotation that it was on. And I never get tired of it. And every 80s action movie rule is in this movie. I know it had a good loadout scene. There was a love scene between him and Ray Dawn that was cut. Herschel, Jack Dagger. But it's a Schwarzenegger film. I'm going to watch it multiple times. And it goes by very fast, which is kind of like, any movie that goes by really fast is a good movie to me.
Blockade.
Yeah. It's a solid movie. It's probably of like the, I guess, like holy trinity of Schwarzenegger 80s films, being like Running Man, Predator, Commando. I'd say it's probably you know, for me, it's the third one. I always lean more towards Running Man and Predator more so, that I watch more regularly. But I think this one's, you know, really just as good. It's just kind of like the overlooked pick there. So it was good to revisit our friend Colonel John Matrix, you know, a great American.
Jack Dagger.
This so I mean, I saw this in 85. I'm sure Chris did too. And I mean, I absolutely fell in love with it. This is peak Arnold. I mean, it's like the quintessential 80s action movie. I think it lives. What's that?
You said it at the right time.
It's precisely. I mean, it's not without its flaws. I think it totally earns the it's great as long as you don't think about it too much. But like everybody's already said, it goes by quick. It's nothing you really have to think about. It's fantastic. It doesn't get old. I think it just gets better every time you watch it because you can focus on a little something different. So you should pick it again. I'm just saying this should be the pick for next month.
Man, imagine watching
Whatever the category.
Imagine watching this movie in the movie theater without adult supervision, like Jack Dagger. Must have been awesome.
I had adult supervision. My father took me to see it. So yeah, I mean, it was it's good stuff, man. I had this poster in my room for years. Arnold in the vest, holding the knife. I had it for years, man. See if I can dig that up.
Mason Bricks.
Obviously, I love this movie. It is the quintessential Arnold movie. Serious question though. Do you prefer? Is this peak physique Arnold, or is that only in Conan? In Conan,
I haven't seen Conan in a while.
I
think
guess
it's
Conan would have to be peak physique because
I mean he's younger.
He was younger.
I
He
like
barely knew English, and he would have been coming closer off of Mr. Universe and everything.
So I guess I'd have to see shirtless, oiled up Arnold from both movies standing next to each other before I could make.
Yeah, or you could say peak Arnold is pumping iron. You know.
Well, yeah,
literally about him working out.
Right.
I don't know, man. Maybe Hercules in New York.
Right. All 4 lines or whatever he had.
Yeah. But 88, it was like 88 minutes, 93 minutes, something ridiculous.
Like 92 minutes or something.
I mean, this thing, you can fly through this.
It is 90 minutes.
Before we started this, I'd said since Friday, today's Monday. So for the last 4 days, I've watched this movie 3 separate times. It's just that fast. I mean, if you're going to, binge watch, I guess, The Office or whatever, you just watch on repeat all the time anyway. Might as well just toss it up and throw in Commando, so yeah, but all the 80s check marks. I mean, I guess that this we didn't have all the 80s check marks. It set the standard for the check marks that were going to be there eventually.
Yeah.
For action movies in the 80s, like nonsense one-liners, kill count that's worse than like I don't know, but anyway, yeah, great movie. Continue on with the discussion here, folks.
Some quick factoids. Came out in 1985. I think it had a budget of $9 million that made $57 million.
It's a good
Rotten Tomatoes, critics and the audience both gave it the same score of 67%. The highest grossing films in 1985 was Back to the Future, Rambo 2, and Rocky 4. And then the best film that year was Out of Africa.
I don't know if that was the best film if Commando was out.
So before I get to the quick synopsis, Sabrina and I were watching this film, and she kept pointing out this this interesting things that made perfect sense to me at the time. So before I get to the synopsis, Sabrina or Bree, hit him with a quick preface leading up to the film, the events leading up to this film. I thought it was hilarious.
All right. So I filled out the plot quite a bit by giving Bennett a backstory and a history with Matrix, like a real story that would make him want to do these awful things. It starts with they're actually gay. So he was Bennett and Matrix are in a relationship, but it's the 80s, so they keep it hush hush, right? Also, Matrix desperately wants to be a dad. You guys see from that whole beginning intro of him how much he loves being a father, and it's going to take off for the rest of the film. So basically, Matrix leaves Bennett so that he can fulfill this dream of having a child of his own. So he makes this deal with some other woman, probably a close friend or who knows, but he basically just pays her off and she produces a child with him. He provides for her. She lives in a different home somewhere else and she's got a whole life on her own, which is why we don't see her and just not mentioned at all. There's no like sad photo of her anywhere and the kid doesn't miss mom at all. So he's totally committed to raising this kid as a single dad. So yeah, that is what happens. And Bennett is tore up over this.
Scorned lover.
A scorned lover, which is why he is so down to just destroy this man's life by stealing the one thing that got in the way of their love. And that was him being a dad, because he couldn't do that for him. Yeah, that's basically it. And it really filled out the story for me. Because otherwise Bennett's character just seems a little much for no reason.
Let's go with Mason Bricks. You first.
I don't know which one of you has a Twitter account or there's an official Twitter account for this show, but you should definitely think about writing that out in 3 or 4 tweets or however many you need to get it out.
Oh,
and
yeah,
then also make sure you tag Vernon Wells. Vernon Wells and Arnold Schwarzenegger. And let's see if get some traction behind that. See if
they respond. I mean, Arnold's pretty active on the socials.
Oh,
You
yeah.
just might pick up on that.
Rick Vendetta.
I just want to say, whoever the woman was, to produce a girl that looks like that, she had to be hot, right, guys? Take a look. That's old Alyssa Milano there.
Alyssa Milano.
My
boss?
My first celebrity crush, but not from this film. It was
From Who's the Boss?
Thank you for clarifying.
When she got the hickey with the vacuum cleaner on Who's the Boss? Yeah, but Vernon Wells, who has played some great bad guys, he said his look in this movie was Freddie Mercury on steroids.
I can see it.
Yeah.
Any other opinions on
The backstory?
On the backstory?
It just seemed like I just noticed a lot of parallels because I watched The Whale yesterday. So, a lot of similarities there. So I don't know if that influenced. If you had recently watched The Whale, okay.
I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, minus the.
I would just like to say that whole the time you took to describe your backstory was probably more time than they spent actually writing Commando.
100.
Yeah, but I'm saying if they made a more complete film, if they had made this a more complete film, I feel like this is what it would be.
She developed this whole
dialogue
backstory. Spot on.
There was no mention of the mother. It could be plausible, but because she got tired of, John Matrix being gone all the time. So her daughter's just like, I love my dad. You're just going to leave us like this? So they're not going to mention her. There's not going to be any sad photos. But, I don't know. Bennett got kicked out of his unit. So who knows?
Captain. How many?
I don't
Well,
know.
there's 4 guys in his unit. One's a colonel, one's a captain. Come on, man.
Yeah. Were there no Indians in this one, huh? All chiefs? No.
I guess so, man. I guess that's how, Army rolls like that.
All chefs, no cooks.
So continue on with that backstory. A pissed off Bennett meets with this former dictator that Arnold Schwarzenegger and his unit kicked off. Recruited these guys to kidnap Arnold's child to force him to kill the very man they put in power. And then Arnold basically goes on a vengeful killing spree to get to the boss fight, essentially.
It's more than just a killing spree.
A systematic killing spree.
Well, I did
It's-
some research on the killing spree,
Oh,
and there seems to be a little bit of argument over the exact body count of this movie. It's
hard to
between
count all those guys on the end.
it's
But
80
I feel like
between
they alluded to it
87.
in Hot Shots or something, didn't they?
The internet says 87 and then also 88. And the reason I think that is because when Matrix first goes into the island fortress area, he like punches a guy and throws him in a closet. And it doesn't
Wow.
really look like he's dead.
Oh
So I
yeah.
don't know. I think that might be the where they get the number. I don't know. I didn't. It didn't
Yeah.
really say. It just said there's argument, but it's either 87 or 88. So a
When did you
ridiculous
make
kill
yourself
count.
a lieutenant?
Just recently.
It's wartime
Like,
promotion.
It's like more
You just
yeah, it was
snuck
like a
that in there.
battlefield.
You're
It was
like,
under siege.
my-
Under
my-
siege, you went from a chief to a lieutenant in between
Yeah.
movies.
yeah. So I mean, 87 to 88. That's a wild number for a body count in a movie.
So
And
Arnold
then-
and his unit, at one point in time, they removed this dictator from power and established their own leader.
Yeah.
During that time, the unit disbanded. The former dictator recruited Bennett and some other guys to kidnap Melissa Milano, and then forced Arnold Schwarzenegger to put him back in power. They put him on a plane, and luckily the stewards tell him he has exactly 11 hours before the flight. Yeah, Rick Vendetta.
I wanna bring us up to speed a little bit though.
Yeah.
First 2 killings in the movie. You know what? If I didn't know it was my trash day, I'm like, what did they change the day? I'm not getting up and
Oh
running.
yeah.
Like this was the plan. He'll run down the driveway and think it's his trash day and we'll shoot him. And then the Cadillac thing where he'll jump on the car and I'll stop and he'll hit his head and he'll die.
And
And
he
then
really shouldn't have
General
died
Kirby,
though. Like that was a weird one.
we were all in the military. And we all know ship's movement, schedule, all that shit is classified. And you don't want to put anybody's life at stake.
It's called operational security.
Operational security, right? Yet the guy who taught this unit all of this General Kirby, flies a fucking helicopter right to his fucking mountain hideaway
Yeah.
and leads everybody there. But I guess they're already there anyway. Leads them right to old Matrix in his mountain hideaway, which is in Mount Baldy, California, where Adam and I have a coworker who lives right there in the foothills of Mount Baldy. And I was just like, why would he do that? Lead them right to John Matrix so they can get him.
I also
then he
like how
brings-
he's like,
I'm sorry, the 2 guards he brings to protect Matrix. We got
Mhm.
Cleveland Brown right
Yeah.
here. Just it's like, are they any good? Not as good as you. Look at this guy. He's 62. He's got to be National Guard or a
He
weekend
was supposed to
warrior.
retire tomorrow.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, this is what's protecting this muscle machine. Yeah, so I just don't get it, And
You just need a meat shield every now and then,
I like
Yeah.
the writing, the writing, and even though it was written by a well-known comic book writer. The writing was pretty like weird because like Kirby, he legit says like call the federal building and let them know.
You
Shit
can
is- like
you can say writing is lazy. You don't have to say weird.
Okay.
You can say lazy.
Yeah.
It's
Lazy.
okay. There. It's fine.
Yeah, it's
And anybody.
They knew what they were making.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure they
I'm
knew.
like, couldn't he have done a phone call, maybe an email, maybe? 1985, we had telegraphs and shit, Western Union. He could have sent a message.
so we
Um,
get
Singing telegram, you know.
Yeah.
so he has 11 hours to get to the island because he feels that no matter what he does, they're gonna kill his daughter anyways. So he jumps
Right.
off the plane.
Yeah,
He goes. Yeah,
You're
go for it,
skipping
Blockhead.
you're skipping a lot.
well,
A lot
this
of
is
good
a-
stuff.
This is
Well,
a
that-
synopsis.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah, let
Yeah,
Adam
everyone
finish the
should-
synopsis. I
Hey,
guess.
yeah, do the synopsis because you only
Yeah,
got
and then we'll circle
3
back
to
on it.
5 minutes left anyway.
yeah, yeah.
He systematically hunts down and kills everybody involved in the kidnapping to find out the location of this dictator. He finally makes it to the island where he just murders every single. He leaves bodies for Kirby to pick up, essentially. Dispatches the dictator, has a final boss fight with Bennett, and rescues his daughter.
Yeah.
And then drives away with apparently maybe his new love interest.
Jenny,
Yeah.
Jenny.
And they fly away on the canoe with wings.
Yeah.
And that's
Not-
pretty
not
much
only.
yeah.
No, go ahead, man. I'm sorry.
No, that's pretty much the gist of the
fucking up your
movie. I guess we'll circle back now.
Yeah.
Where do you guys want to start with?
Well, I wanted to comment on the what's a more believable jump from a height? Is it Arnold jumping off the landing gear into the marsh, or is it more believable that Stallone jumps a mile out of a helicopter in Demolition Man?
Well,
I mean,
at least
that's
he
not
was
hard,
split
but
with.
ridiculous,
Yeah.
like just jump out,
I
like
mean,
land
I think
feet
it's more
first kind of
believable
thing.
than Marsh.
I think, yeah, but either way, I was thinking, I was like, ooh, he just took a cat of nine tails to the balls.
Oh,
That's not gonna
hey,
feel
right behind you. Hey, Chris, right behind you. Since you got the movie playing back there, Matrix is a responsible gun owner, and he has this awesome arsenal with this. It's 1985, and he's got a pin pad freaking lock.
2 numbers.
2 numbers. 1, 3. Are you fucking serious?
Yeah, another thing about this, when he's telling Cleveland Brown, he's like, remember, you're downwind. He's like, you think I can smell him? He's like, I did.
Yeah.
Like, why do you need to smell anymore? You know where they're at. And then this part right here
True.
bothers the shit out of me. What did this guy think was going to happen to him?
Yeah.
He's like, so you just got to cooperate, right? He's like, wrong, and blows his head off.
Wrong.
Like, what does he think was going to happen?
They got to get him started somehow, I guess, man.
Yeah, and it's
I think 2 things I want to bring up before all this happens is
The
the
sandwich.
woman that
Oh.
one of his buddy, like the guy who gets offed by the garbage truck people, like the woman he wakes up with is in like full makeup and hair and just wakes up looking perfect. I feel like that was ridiculous.
it's the 80s. Breathe.
Yeah,
That's the 80s.
yeah.
That's how
But
women
then-
slept.
Can we just talk about the music? Like
Uh,
the jazz,
and I
calypso,
Fucking
That's,
fucking
terrible.
weird.
No.
oh my God.
No, I have something
Oh.
for you with this. I was going to
Yeah.
ask if I could do the soundtrack as all of you talk. I'll sit here and go.
Here,
Herschel, I want to
Here's-
tell a story.
It was so distracting.
I was
before you go
overwhelming.
watching.
too far.
I was
Before
at
you go
Herschel's
too
house.
far.
Okay, listen
Yeah.
to Jack.
Oh no,
I was
no,
supposed-
go ahead, man.
I was at Herschel's house. We were watching 48 Hours,
It
And-
is.
and I heard this music playing in 48 Hours, and I was like, "Did this fucking guy do the music for Commando too?" I was like, "Did he just fucking use it for both?" He's like, and Herschel goes, "Yes, he did." And I'll let you take it.
It's It's James Horner. And he's like, you know what? They're going to pay me to do Commando. Nobody's paying attention to this goddamn music. I'm just going to go with 48 hours. Bam, I'm done. Pay me. Pay me. Except
come out.
this does have a great, he just killed, what was it, 87 or 88, whatever the
Right.
number is.
Between 85 and 87 people.
It's somewhere in there, and just wipe them off the face of the earth, just mercilessly. I mean, snapping necks, throwing saw blades, ballistic knives, blowing them up, you name it. And what do we get? We get a nice upbeat 80s song from the power station to play us out, because it's like, yeah, whatever. That's how we do it. It's good stuff, man.
Somewhere,
I think
sometime.
I think Cobra might be a little bit better for that. I just killed 90 people, spent 10,000 rounds, destroyed a town. But hey, John Cafferty, play us out. I mean, it's good stuff, man.
I want to talk about the downhill scene really quickly. This is nitpicking right now.
You mean the exhaust fumes, or
all those guys had to do was just stop
Yeah,
and just let them.
Yeah.
he's going to hit us. No, not if you just apply the brakes right now.
Yeah. Well, then they give the illusion that he was going to run into one of those people. And then they cut to like him just continuing to careen off the hill. And I'm glad that apparently all they did was pull the spark plug wires. Like,
Yeah, just plug them back in.
yeah.
Just plug them back in real quick.
It was
There'll
all
only be
pretty
like
ridiculous.
6, right, Herschel, in that truck?
And then didn't it just
but
blow
Might
up?
have been an 8.
Yeah, it was probably an 8.
It
probably
does.
a Chevy
It catches
350.
fire and blows up.
It just blew up for literally no reason.
And then
I think,
I do like, since it's playing in the background there, I do like how they pander to the audience just a little bit. After Bennett knocks him out, they feel like they need to tell us tranquilizers when he wakes up. Like, no shit, really? For real? I appreciate it. Because as a kid, I had no idea what was going on.
So they know that John Matrix was the head of this fucking elite special forces unit, right? And we're going to get him to go take out this fucking dictator, and he can do it all by himself. So we're going to put him on a plane with just one black dude with a dry Jerry curl pressed down with a Panama Jack hat, and that should be all the
Enriquez.
security we need to control this monster of muscle that is a badass killing machine. We'll just put this one dude on the plane with him.
Oh,
I mean, what was Dan Hedaya? I'm not sure how you say it. What was his
Dan
name?
Hedaya. Yeah.
In the movie. What's his name?
Enriquez.
Enriquez. I guess I never really thought about it, but he's got an army. He has his own island. He has this fantastic mansion. What the hell do you want to go down to Valverde for anyway? What more do you need?
Yeah.
I mean, Jesus Christ,
megalomaniac's
man.
gonna megalomaniac.
I guess, man. He's got a yacht and a
Power.
seaplane and all this crap. Holy God.
I forgot about a point, like all the way back when Kirby was trying to warn Matrix about these guys coming, that he could be Syrians, it could be Russians, or it could be South Americans. Like he went
South
country,
Americans,
continent, and it just cracked me up. I was like, is he like he doesn't want to go through all the different countries that are there?
all of those deadly gauchos.
Colombia, Venezuela, all those a lot of shady countries over there.
I want to talk about the introduction of Cindy.
I like Cindy.
Hey,
We get the class. Yeah.
my man Sully has just entered the movie. If I was going to recast anything, I'd play Sully in this movie.
So we get that. I don't know what it is about the 80s, and we saw this in Christine, I believe, but like women who don't do horse things often get called whores.
That's why I'm taking the role.
Oh,
The difference between a bitch and a whore is a whore sleeps with everybody. A bitch sleeps with everybody but me.
Yeah.
You know, you're talking about Sully. How old is Sully, man? Because like when they're talking, because everybody here was in the Navy, in the military, and he's talking about, oh, so you and Bennett met in the service. The fuck, man? Is he in World War II? Who this says I was in the service? Who the fuck said that anymore? Yeah, I was in the service, man. Come on, dude.
I want you to notice they did give him a blazer to fly in.
Yeah, yeah.
To
Well, it was
sit next
because it
to
was
the
back then.
Panama
He had
hat.
flying was a an event, much like our good buddy Joshua Cole. He gets dressed up for the airport, as we mentioned on a G.I. Joe podcast episode.
And he's got to take it all off to go through security.
Yeah.
So I remember like watching this movie as a kid, and I thought the Cindy character was like too much. But upon seeing this last week, I really liked her character. She was pretty level-headed for what the situation was.
To a degree, yeah.
Yeah, she had one big freak out, which I feel like was
Lasted half the
wanted.
movie.
And that's flaw number one for me about in this movie was when she called the we'll get into the mall security cops really quickly right now, but she called the mall security cops on Arnold, and then she flips out because she had to save Arnold from the mall security cops. Like that whole situation was completely brought on by you, and is your fault.
I don't feel like if I was also made to drive a stranger to a mall and then told to go get to fish out another bad guy, I would also try to get out of that situation. So I don't fault her for that, because there was no way for her to know that Matrix was actually a good guy.
Yeah, with Cindy, as Matrix is explaining to her, he's like, "You're the only chance I got," and I was like, "Well, good thing you met her then." You know,
Right.
good thing you ran into Cindy. If she's the only chance you got. What was your plan after taking that cat of nine tails to the balls when you jumped off the fucking landing gear? And I was like, was it 11 hours exactly from when Sully put him on the plane, or from whenever he landed in the marsh? He's put 11 hours. I was like, you're gonna be a couple minutes late, man. You better put that at like 10 hours and 27 minutes that you have left.
Sully was so cringe.
There is quite a bit of coincidence in this movie. I mean, quite a bit. Like you said, he winds up with the one person that can help him. He gets to her car. Luckily, Sully's parked right there next to him, so they don't have to go
Right.
looking. I mean, I've never been to LAX. I can imagine the parking is a bit of a bitch, but a little bit, who's nitpicking now, right?
Yeah.
What do you expect from a gay love story?
And back in the 80s, you could tell who the bad guys were because their wardrobe was progressively worse. How ridiculous is that outfit that Bennett's wearing? With that mesh tank top thing going
That
on?
was my first clue that he was gay. Was his outfit. I was like, that guy is gay.
It's chainmail.
And then, yeah.
Like somebody's fucking uncle.
And then
Yeah,
Arnold
like
never once tried to hit on Cindy. Like Matrix was not hitting on Cindy at all. Just used her in like a totally office-like way the entire movie. So I was like, definitely gay.
He's focused on Jenny, though. He's focused on Jenny.
Yeah, but she's a beautiful woman.
Tommy Chong's daughter? Is that right?
Yeah.
That is, yeah.
They were on Family Feud not too long ago.
Oh, really?
But the thing is with that is to keep, maybe they wanted to keep that gay theme going, like you were saying. This is why they cut out the Ray Don Chong Arnold love scene that they had. They're like, no, nobody's gonna believe that he likes women.
Well, it didn't suit. Like it was better as just a sidekick.
Yeah. Thank God she knew how to fly.
Yeah. Convenient.
Is it convenient? Of course.
She was a flight attendant.
Right. They all.
She's a student.
Everybody here can sail around the world on a sailing ship. I mean,
Yeah,
I just want to say, I mean, for recruiting Matrix to do this job, they said ultimate respect was given. This is the man
Oh,
that can take
he's
out
about
the
to jump.
dictator,
yeah, into this.
so I can
Puddle of
take over
water.
this country.
Flash.
There
His
is a
legs
cat
are
of
broken.
nine. Look at
Yeah,
like
right?
one of those things should have went in his ass. That and then everything from that point of them recruiting him to do this job, everything from that point, they disrespected his fucking special force abilities because they're putting him with one guy to fly with him. They think Bennett's going to take him out, which you put two people together. You got to have somebody there that can match them on screen. You got to have Stallone on that other side as the bad guy. You can't have out of shape Vernon Wells. You got to have Mad Max Vernon Wells, maybe.
Yeah.
I'll
Nobody
believe
but
that.
a scorned lover in
Yeah.
that kind of shape would go through that much effort.
What
One
about
thing
him
that-
riding on the fire truck here for 10 seconds to get him farther?
Love it. Well, his
That's
pants
great.
are all wet. You ever run in wet pants and shoes?
Terrible.
Those
isn't it?
corduroys?
Maybe it helped dry them faster.
I think the TV playing in the background is distracting you guys now. Another thing that I didn't that I appreciate about this movie now that I didn't back then was the detective story. It was a little bit of a detective story where he's
A little bit, yeah.
he's fucking finding clues to the next person, and I thought that was pretty awesome. The only clue that I didn't like was finding that warehouse or that gas receipt in the fucking Cadillac
In the Cadillac.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who keeps that?
And why would he have it?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, for reals?
And why did
Which-
Billy Duke go through 37 cars in 24
Yeah,
hours
well, that's
for no
another-
reason?
So a
All
couple,
Cadillacs.
And a
a
garbage
couple
truck.
things about that scene. So they're fighting, and that's where, Joe, you get your nudity. Did you notice? I don't know if you noticed when they crash through the other room.
Yeah.
The naked girl is behind the guy. What were they doing? Because they
Yeah.
weren't startled into that position.
We
Right,
talked
well,
about
I
this
don't know,
too.
They're doing
What the
whatever
hell,
under the
man?
covers there, and then I guess he
Yeah. And the
potentially
other
trying to
thing,
protect her or
I
something.
guess I didn't think
Yeah.
about that for very long.
Like she was
Yeah,
strapped
well-
with something.
yeah,
Yeah.
right. The other thing that I thought was hilarious is so he
Well,
kills him, inadvertently, the piece of furniture through the chest.
Yeah.
He walks outside, walks to the first Cadillac. Oh, this must be Cook's car. Like,
Yeah,
Jesus,
I mean,
Race.
I'm
what the
I'm
hell
choosing
is-
that one too, though.
Well, that's it. That's a good one.
Stereotypes are
Yeah.
real.
But I do like how there is a detective element, but we don't have to sit through the problem solving. They just
Yeah, they just figure it out. Yeah.
they're just like
I think for detective element, it's really more Scooby-Doo-ish. Yeah,
Yeah.
Everything's on a
Type of
hunch that
detective.
turns
but
out
it's
okay.
perfect
Yeah.
for this film.
Yeah. Total sense. Makes total
it-
sense.
Also, you guys remember the glass block window commercials? They're
Yeah.
super solid, bullet resistant and everything. These guys are busting through them like it's Lego
Yeah.
blocks.
They were not.
What's that all about? They weren't set properly.
They weren't. There's no adherence or anything to them. They're
Yeah.
just they just laid them there on
Yeah,
top of each
they're
other.
just stacked up.
The
I'll
Sun
say
God
those,
Motel is not high on the list there, man.
Yeah, those blocks made an appearance in every Miami Vice episode.
They did. Oh my God. Did we lose Joe? I haven't heard from Joe in a while.
Man, I've just been going through my notes and everybody's hitting all the stuff that I was
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Sorry, man.
I was cracking up on.
Here it is.
I do like Arnold's softer side though at the beginning of the movie when he's spending time with his daughter. Not only is he hard as nails and super buff, but he also can speak to animals. I don't know how many people have ever seen deer in the wild, but I'm just gonna go out on a limb and say that
They don't walk up to you.
a 10-year-old
No, they
girl in a
don't.
flannel and her hulking monster of a father aren't getting the drop on one enough to feed it
Yeah.
clovers or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just thought that was a really funny part of the movie. You know, the whole movie's fucking ridiculously funny anyway. You know,
Yeah.
it's out of control. But
Do you think they intended for it to be that funny
Mhm.
as well as that much action?
Yeah, that's what the one-liners are for.
Yeah.
Well, the one-liners, but I don't think like the stuff that we're making fun of was the intent.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Was him
No,
ripping the seat out a tribute to Hightower from Police Academy?
Well, this one
I
we
couldn't
talk
figure
about
out
it
why
being
he did that.
Yeah, there's no real
You
good
can
still
reason
see
for it.
him.
so he could
Perfectly.
hide.
To
Like,
lower his
So
profile.
he could hide.
Yeah.
He could
man.
lean it back.
And
I
to
was like,
intimidate.
just lay down a little.
Recline the seat back.
You just ruined that car.
Poor little sunbeam tiger will never be the same.
They go to that warehouse to find the Latin long that's conveniently written on the map. Am I correct, Joe? You saw it like 4 or 5
Yeah, he
times.
had the coordinates. Yeah.
So that's the next clue that leads them to the plane.
how about that map already having that place marked, and then he like
Good.
he still
He
he's-
does some OSing and
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that's right here. Like it already's like, you know, says X and secret hideout with an arrow pointing to it. Like
Yeah. It's
he's got the sextant out or whatever the hell that compass
Yeah.
or whatever, and like you're looking at as a viewer, you're looking at it like, I bet it's that island right there with the dark like plus sign on it. And then
Lift by sea over here.
like he went to the right building on that little base, the right
It's
building, the right office, everything.
This is one of those movies watching as a kid. I was like, oh my God, special forces can do anything.
Anything, right?
That's like too
They
much
can
for me to learn.
smell people. They can do everything. Oh my God.
They rush to the seaplane and Arnold defends it with like an Uzi or a Mac-10 or something.
Yeah, can we
Go
talk
back. Go back to them raiding and getting all of those weapons.
about
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
That
it's
shit was
surplus store.
hilarious. Just watching him just put more shit on.
what
And the
fucking
other,
kind of
like-
surplus story is that?
Exactly.
That
So
was
first of
better than
all-
an armory on a fucking military base.
And they
What I
act like
love
they
about
didn't
this
expect
guy-
like law enforcement to show up.
Well, precisely. Like this guy is special ops, the baddest of the bad. He is about as stealthy as a fucking phone book in a dryer.
He
I
drove
mean,
a
where
fucking-
where the fuck do you get a bulldozer? I'm just gonna knock the whole front of the
All I could
building
think
down.
was like he is
Nobody's
taking too
gonna
much
come here.
time.
That's fine.
He was spending so much time in that store.
I just want
I
to
would have been like, Cindy, we got 2 minutes. Let me know when there's 1 minute
Right.
and 50 seconds left.
yeah, if you're special
What-
forces. I do want to talk about the mall scene though,
Yeah.
to where he's swinging all around and shit, and that one security guard talking
He
to those
lifts-
girls saying,
Oh, he lifts the
"You want to
fuck-
watch me kick some ass?"
Kick some
And he's
ass.
like, "Just one big motherfucker," you know. And what makes me happy is that that's filmed at the Sherman Oaks Galleria, you know, same as Fast Times at Ridgemont High and a few other movies. And it doesn't look like that anymore. I went in and checked it out. You know, it was destroyed by an earthquake back in the 90s.
It was destroyed by Arnold.
But I'm sitting
Yeah.
there. I just wish when he's swinging across, they would have just had like BB Cates and Jennifer Jason Leigh at the pizza place. And then you know, there's everybody needed a quarter to make a phone call.
Yeah.
They had to find a quarter to make a phone call, as we'll get into
Yeah.
that later.
Can we just, has there ever been a profession that has had such a fall from grace as the 1985 mall security guard?
Security cop. Yeah.
I mean, these guys, they were cool.
Guns, man.
Obviously, it
They're
was cool.
packing.
They were packing heat. There was a shit ton of them. And I mean, maybe it's because I was born in 1982 and I don't remember my first mall experience until probably like 89, maybe, or 88 or something.
Yeah.
There's no fucking skateboarders at that mall.
But I will tell you this. I will tell you this right now. My entire life, mall security guards were a joke. Mall rats taught me that mall security guards were a joke,
Right.
you know? But in 85,
Yeah.
Get to checking yourself. We
They
don't play
put
the
the guy,
shenanigans
Good luck.
out here.
guy
Yeah.
there.
Hey,
you know,
and that's not a bad neighborhood that mall is in. They didn't need to be packing heat like that. It's just weird that these mall security, and there were so many of them. There was an
What's
army.
the oath of a mall security guard in '85? Like it's.
I mean,
I must protect this house, and then like I got by any means necessary. I have no idea, but they like are willing to die for the hot topic.
Like
Yeah.
Arnold's
Capitalism
former
will win.
Arnold's former unit should have disbanded, and they should have became mall security cops. They would
Mall
have
security, yeah.
They would have lived
Yeah.
probably.
You know, during that scene is another one. Sully's got a gun and he's running for the whole, like Chris said, he needs a quarter because we don't have cell phones yet.
after he's saying that was a good place to hunt Slash.
Hush some Slash.
Which is one of
And
my
he-
least favorite words, I've decided.
Do you prefer Slash or Gash?
Or gash, yeah.
I think slash, honestly, but both of them make me cringe up. Just like,
Both were used in the 80s.
yeah, I hate them.
I got to update my Christian Mingle later.
Just for you, we're bringing it back. But what's great is, you know, Sully's in that futuristic round phone booth, fires one shot through it, misses. So then Arnold says, you know what? Let me get right in front of it, start shaking it. Sully totally forgets he's got a gun until he gets out of the phone booth and starts wasting top flight security to world, Craig. And I just, I don't get it, man. I don't get it. Convenience. Ah, goodness. Not going to affect my rating, though.
when you get hoisted while
Not
inside of the
even
phone
close.
booth, it throws you off.
Yeah.
Throws your game off.
So I guess
That's
they
the
had to
point.
have that fucking surplus store with all those weapons just to arm all of the mall security cops in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
That's the only
You know,
place where you
It's
Who's
funny,
turning
man.
in the
I was
the
watching
bazooka
this.
to the surplus store?
Yeah, right. I was watching this with Michael, and we get to that scene, and he just keeps piling more and more. And Michael finally says, Jesus, how many guns does he need to take with him? I mean, for God's sakes,
He only
how many
carries
can
3.
you carry? I mean,
Well, we
But
saw
well-
him carrying that log at the beginning of the film
that's true. That's
quite
true. But I
hollow out
think,
that log.
and pull out a car seat. Yeah. All I saw,
I
remember
think-
when he put on the new boots, and all I could think was,
Those new
And
baits.
ballistic-
those
Yeah.
are going to
You're gonna
be
get-
so uncomfortable.
You're going to get
Yeah.
blisters.
He's going to get blisters. He's going to
Wet.
get shin splints.
wet feet,
like,
no less.
But his
Yeah.
other ones were wet because he jumped in the marsh.
Yeah, he tries
That's a good
to
point.
So
he
it's
tries
kinda-
to run through the grinder shooting those people. He's getting blisters.
That's a good point. That's a good point. Don't want to ruin your suiting up scene. I know that's one of your
Right.
favorites, Adam. So
Gotta let Adam present.
we'll
it.
leave that for you.
he does love a suit up.
He's going to go through first thing he did to the last thing.
So we'll leave that for you.
They load up. He gets arrested. Cindy breaks him out by shooting a rocket launcher at the paddy wagon.
Mhm.
Which
She's
the way-
a surgeon with that. That's pretty impressive.
Mhm.
that she
I was
didn't
really
kill the
impressed
entire-
with Cindy.
She's disabled without killing anybody.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
She did not shoot it into the back door, but underneath it to where they could all escape
Yeah.
safely.
She I liked the fact that they like pointed out that he was like, how did you know how to do that? And she's like, I read the instructions, which I think is a very male female thing to do, because
That's
That's just expected.
sarcasm.
Yeah.
But also, aren't they on like? I don't know what movie it is. I feel like there's some movie where it cuts to like on the launcher. It says like, you know, how to operate, and it's like 3 steps or something.
yeah. No, they're not complicated, I'm sure,
No.
but
But also,
I really
there's
liked that
always,
moment.
and then there's always the gag where they shoot it the wrong way first. And they're like, oh, and then flip it around.
It reminds me of the times like when in movies you see like a guy and a gal are lost driving somewhere, and the guy refuses to stop and ask directions, and the woman like sneaks away, asks directions, and then they figure out where to go. Like it was that kind of role play.
Guys don't ask for directions because if we're with a woman, we're going somewhere we don't want to go.
Yeah. We get lost, then we could get out of it potentially.
Yeah.
And so they make their way to the seaplane. Arnold
See how Adam doesn't weigh in on that at all.
No,
Arnold
yep.
defends it while she powers up all this antiquated equipment, and then they fly off to like do they go straight to Valverde?
No.
Yeah.
They're going to his
Island.
stronghold island.
Yeah, it's to
Yeah,
the,
his
the
Yeah, to
stronghold,
his
yeah.
compound.
His launching staging point.
It's
You were
staging
talking
point.
about he defended with a
Island
Mac
map.
10.
Yeah,
Did you see the two guys shooting at him? Of course, they didn't hit anything.
they didn't have a
Um,
damn thing.
Of
But
course
the
not.
distracted driving, they just like the Jeep just went off of the pier on the side because they weren't paying attention where it was going.
They land outside of the compound. Arnold canoes his way to the beach, paddles
Now,
his way to the
I-
beach.
I do want to ask you one thing.
Yeah.
Was it necessary for him to get down to a Speedo for that scene? I'm just wondering why he couldn't suit up in the plane. I'm curious.
Where did the Speedo come from is what I wrote down.
He wears it.
Also, good point.
That's it. The whole movie, that thing, it shouldn't have been that clean after all that running and stuff. But this
There's
is
no
also,
way.
He's only had him on for like 9 hours.
yeah, before he
He put on fresh ones.
he got to the island, didn't they show the plane with the dead black dude came off?
Oh yeah.
yeah.
And I don't know how much they spent on wardrobe for the villains in this movie, but the
$12.
two South Americans that were there to meet him, the one with the really sweaty tank top with similar colored pants that weren't long enough for him, and he's wearing flip-flops. I just said, again, these are you're traveling, this killing machine is traveling with this one black dude, and then he's going to be met by these two guys. Like
did
they're
not
going to
paint-
force him to do something.
They did not paint the South Americans very well.
I think they did have to have Arnold in his underwear like that. At
That's what
first,
you
I
pay
was
for.
like,
Thanks for
I was
bringing
like,
it back. Thanks for bringing it back.
because I had a really big in here like Arnold's swimwear, like
Yeah.
amazing. Thanks for he probably had in his contract like I get at least 5 seconds to just show this physique off.
Well, that's why the movie
Every
tickets
10
were
minutes.
$4 back
Then
then.
he
You're paying for that stuff.
gets a chance to flex off, and I caught myself saying this a lot of times during the movie, but one of the first times I said it was when that rocket launcher hits that paddy wagon, and Arnold isn't turned to jelly when it lands on its side or whatever, and he's in the back with his handcuffs on or what, no, he'd be dead. But
He wasn't such a elite athlete.
I
Remember.
thank God for Bruce Willis.
Right.
Thank God for Bruce Willis bringing us back down to earth with somewhat reality.
Die Hard, yeah.
Die Hard.
I mean,
No
I don't
way,
know.
man.
No way, man. All right.
Yeah,
Well,
Bill
don't worry.
Paxton's
I got
in
other
this too.
times when I said thank God for Willis because this shit got too crazy.
Oh, it's just gonna get crazy now when he lands on the beach and we have the fucking loadout scene.
Like
where
crazy, you
he's-
mean all hell breaks loose?
Hell yeah, he's fucking shotguns and knives and claymores and grenades and rocket launchers. He's fucking loading that. I'm trying to think of a good video game reference, but he's like getting all Call of Duty'd out or something.
Well, I'll tell you, this is where Grand Theft Auto came from, with just having 50 different weapons at your disposal that you're running around with.
He has the unlimited ammo cheat code on, and then
Yeah.
he just fucking goes
Yeah.
to town. Killing.
One more thing about that.
Yeah.
It's a great loadout scene. Was the arm and the face paint really necessary? Because once again, Captain Stealth, he's got all of his stealth on, and what does he do? He just blows up and shoots 18 million rounds.
Well, how else was
Yeah.
Cindy supposed to know?
Well,
I wrote
that's
that.
so. Man.
Herschel.
Plus, it's
I
like
was
it's like jungle, dark grease paint. and
Yeah.
he's in a tropical island, so
I
it doesn't
thought-
blend
I-
in with anything.
Well,
Yeah, I
it's
said,
obviously
I
really
said it
good.
today. I said, is that necessary? And he's in the daytime. You're just out in the open too, running across the front
Yeah.
yard.
He's got so
I mean,
much
this is
grease on him
like the
and
raid in
sheen.
Beverly Hills Cop, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, good Lord.
But I dug everything about. I dug the knife throws, the fucking.
Oh, yeah.
No, it's great.
We got an
It's-
improvised
it's
weapons
fantastic.
scene in the tool shed, which is fucking awesome. He's just
Oh, the
fucking
tool shed.
Oh, for sure.
scalping
The
people
halftime,
with
yeah.
fucking buzzsaw blades and.
I would like to ask another question. Of the probably 15 to 25,000 rounds he fired on that island,
All
how
from
many
a
of them do you
shotgun.
think? What's that?
Go ahead. I've got a comment.
Oh, I was just going to say, how many of them do you think there was any aiming involved? I saw a lot of
Zero, man.
everything's from the hip.
Yeah, you saw the gun, the muzzle just flying up and down.
And
As
it's
he
all
shot.
You're just windmilling weapons.
I just say this was one of those 80s movie rules to where you had endless ammo. A shotgun can hold
Oh, for sure.
200 rounds.
maybe
He shot that
Yeah.
shotgun 100 times.
And
without
maybe that was
reloading.
part of his plan, was to like make as much noise as possible so it would seem like there was more than one person infiltrating right now.
That's a good
It's
point.
possible.
Like
That's
then
a
you
good
think
point.
like, oh, we're being invaded, we're being attacked, and really it's just this
The
one
only
guy.
the only problem with that point is they know who's coming after
Yeah.
them.
Yeah.
You know, I mean that's the
Yeah.
only problem.
And I like the scene where they look at Bennett and say, slicing a little girl's throat is like cutting through warm butter.
So weird.
And then he's like, and also he's like shitting on the troops that what's his face has, and he's like,
Yeah.
"Man," and he's always like, yeah, that's where like Sabrina's theory like kept making sense, because he's always like, me and Matrix, we would have taken every guy out,
Right.
and
Yeah.
he's
High
always
regard.
ma-
He
yeah,
clearly
he's always
like
me and Matrix this and Matrix that, and you
he's
know.
obsessed and he
Only
talks so
thing
highly
between-
of him.
Yeah, only thing between you and Matrix is me and my chainmail shirt.
So this is where Matrix dispatches probably 70%, 80% of his kill count, and then he what's the dictator's name?
Enriquez, right?
Henry.
No,
No.
his
Something.
name is
Whatever.
Arius.
I was getting a kick of watching all these crazy mustaches and mutton chops, by the way.
Oh
All
yeah.
these soldiers, like just
A couple of them were just
Running
white
through.
guys with mustaches.
yeah.
there was so much going on.
So much stash.
Hey,
So
all
much
I know
hair.
is when
It
I
was
first watched
gross.
this, movie as a kid, I did still think when I was a kid, I don't care how bad you are, these guys are soldiers, but he should have been hit with bullets at least 70 times.
You're right.
And then, but when I saw him throw the saw blade, it cut that dude's head, and I don't think it killed him. And then he just chops the arm off. I was excited,
oh,
but
for
then
sure.
I was like, this guy hasn't been hit with anything, just running across a front yard.
So
Yeah.
was the 80s really like, probably 75% of men just grew out their mustaches? Was it that prominent? Because at least 75% of these male characters all had huge mustaches.
Maybe in South
What I was
America.
thinking, what I was thinking was they had mustache inspections in this guy's army.
Well,
Mustache
I mean that's how
inspection,
you
700 hours.
that's how you looked Hispanic in the 80s. You just had to have a mustache.
Oh,
So I mean, we know they're South American something.
Yeah.
Valverde, wherever that is.
they can be anywhere from South America.
It just
Uh,
with the right facial hair, I'm telling you.
Okay, so it's a Valverde trend.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay,
Absolutely.
cool.
So Arnold dispatches Arius, and then we have the showdown we've been waiting for, his fight with Bennett.
His lover.
If
Exactly.
if I may, before you
He
get to the
threatens his
shutdown,
balls
Of
directly.
course.
So he's thrown probably 37, 38 grenades. He's fired countless rounds. No hearing protection, no nothing.
Blew up at least 3 buildings.
At least 3 buildings. He's been in a plane. His ears are all plugged up.
Yeah.
He gets into the mansion. Jenny is down in Freddy Krueger's lair doing something. He
Not
hears
yet.
the
We haven't gotten to
faintest-
that part.
We did though.
No,
But
our
he
top
hears-
5 list is later.
But he hears the faintest little "Dad," and automatically he knows where she's at. Like, really?
Right.
For real?
He can hear her up there where he's at.
It's like his sense
Exactly.
of smell, you guys. He can
Here.
smell downwind and he can hear his little girl no matter where
He's
she
a
is.
parent.
Take
It's
off
like
my
you can
my
always hear them
Valverdean,
when they
my
mouth off.
Valverdean
so
hat
you know.
here.
Exactly. It's another thing that just I was like, oh my God, special forces. I don't know how they do it, but they make everything better.
Hola, amigos. It's my
And
Valverdean
also
that's
how he gets
hat.
to claim tinnitus with his VA claim later on.
Yeah.
I was curious.
And I just want to.
How does Jenny escape past those like 80 plus soldiers? Like she just runs straight through all of
They're
them.
all
And
just
nobody
fading.
catches her.
They're all distracted. They're all running towards Arnold.
Yeah.
What I was thinking was, as he's blowing up this whole compound, that short flight from LA to this compound, I was like, on the other side of the island, they're doing the Catalina wine mixer.
Yeah.
Those people listening to 80s only Billy Joel have no idea what's going on this other
Yeah.
side here.
Trying to look for the fireworks.
Yeah.
Uptown Girl.
Yeah.
we get the fight with Bennett. Convinces Bennett to go mano y mano.
Pride, ego.
Sends a steam pipe through his chest, and we get the best one-liner in the history of one-liners, I think.
No,
Yeah.
it's a
Let
good
off
one, but I
steam,
mean,
Bennett.
Good one.
it's a good one.
It's
But
good.
I was
man.
thinking, how did he throw that thing so hard to go through that chainmail shirt? there?
Exactly. Your armor sucks, dude.
I know. Why'd you wear that? The whole
It's
movie?
just the tops of beer cans. Why'd you
The
spend so much
natty
time
night.
making that, Bennett? Dude, leave me alone. I'm got to
Yeah.
take. I'm gonna go find Matrix. He's gonna think my armor's sweet. We're gonna get back together.
What I do on Liberty is my own thing, all right?
We had a guy, a gunner's mate on my second ship, who would sit in the armory and make those chainmail shirts. He's down there bending little pieces of metal. He's making those costumes and shit for his D&D nights in the
Yeah,
back.
it was on our
shop.
ship. It was on.
No, this is second ship for me. This is
There
Way
was like
City.
a CT or a CR that did it on our ship.
Right, and he played in some thing in the back of a comic book store after hours. They would play, he said, from like midnight to 7 a.m. doing these different, like lair or whatever. And that's what he was making in the armory. He wouldn't bathe, but he'd sit there all night making it.
Yeah.
If you guys could bring any medieval type gear into fashion today, what would it be?
Probably a mace.
Into fashion, you jerk off.
Mace is always fashionable.
Yeah, that goes with any outfit.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
I would like a knight's helmet. Just
Hmm.
pull it down. You can see through the slit.
Cloaks or capes for me.
It protects you from COVID these days too. So
I'm
I
probably
think,
like a satchel guy with like multiple pockets. Like I'm wearing cargo shorts and also a cargo belt.
That's a good point.
I'd say
I
anything
think
that
always wearing some type of glove.
Gloves.
Leather gloves,
Falconer's
gauntlets,
mitt.
something.
yeah,
Always.
you're always falconing.
Yeah, for sure.
Free blitz.
Can't think of anything that I would want to bring back as far as female wardrobe is concerned.
What about quiver? You could put a quiver and you just put anything in there. It's like your first
Licorice.
Licorice.
pull it out, start eating.
Get a nerd's rope.
Yeah. Red rope licorice, man.
I do like the what is it if you're a bow and arrowist? There's
An archer.
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 I do like the archer aesthetic. Yeah.
So you want to be Robin
Nimble.
Hood?
Yeah, hat with a feather.
Oh, hats with feathers is cool. Yeah, hats with
Oh, that's a good
feathers.
one.
Like a Three Musketeers type of Zoolander movie.
I don't think that's quite medieval though.
Now, those come around every 10 years or so. About to.
Renaissance.
And Andy's Hat
Classic
Club.
shit.
So Arnold kills Bennett. Kirby shows up just in time to count the bodies.
Yeah, why did you call him? Like, there's the hey, it's come
Convenience.
cleanup crew.
And then
Yeah, they're
Yeah,
cleanup
he doesn't
crew.
want to.
he asks Arnold to come back, which Arnold or Matrix refuses. And then him, Jenny, and Cindy ride off into the sunset.
We assume to be straight.
Yeah.
No.
Ginny
Oh, his
agrees
lover's
to be
dead,
his.
so, you know.
Ginny finally agrees to be his beard till the day he dies.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful story.
I want to start this segment with favorite scenes. I'll go with Mason Brooks, Lieutenant Mason Brooks. Favorite scenes.
Favorite scene. I think my favorite scene is the car chase with Sully, and then the early demise of Sully. So, like, I mean, I guess that's one scene, but I think that's it.
Totally
The
down.
fact that I mean, like, Sully is obviously one of the worst shots we've ever seen in our friggin' lives. He couldn't shoot Arnold at point blank, and then he damn sure couldn't shoot at point blank when, like, their windows are right now. All you have to do is, like, look. I mean, I can't really describe it in words, so that you just listen. But
I think,
all you have to do is just like shoot across his face. I don't know.
Ray
It's,
Don Chong's hair caught those bullets.
yeah,
Yeah.
and, you know, she's okay, you know. So but then the fact that, like, the car flips over on the side, you know, when Arnold gets in the wreck and he hits the pole, I mean, he's instantly like, "You okay?" Like didn't even miss a beat. Like,
Right.
it hits
Like,
the pole. He doesn't even give a shit. And
Nobody's got
obviously doesn't
seatbelts
either.
on.
Yeah.
Nobody's got seatbelts on. They hit that
Put it
pole
in
pretty
a
goddamn
chair.
hard.
Everybody had their lap belt on, and they hit a pole going at least 35 miles an hour, which I do believe is a very deadly rate of speed for a head-on
Yeah.
collision.
In
You know,
a
I mean,
fucking
obviously
sunbeam?
75
Yeah.
is, but whew,
Yeah.
I bet you if you look at the numbers, I bet you more head-on collisions are around like 35 miles an hour that are deadly.
You know, back then, sunbeams, they were made of pure metal, though.
Yeah.
And you know, then he dispatches Sully in such an awesome way. This is my weekend. And then needs a car and flips Sully's car over and drives off into the night to go on the next mission, which I think is go to the hotel. But I think that series of events, the car chase part to driving off from that scene of the accident.
Same. Jack Dagger. Favorite scene?
Man, it's really hard in a movie like this to come up with a favorite scene.
Well, I'm asking you to.
I'll do my best. I think the going shopping, like, that's awesome.
Yeah.
When they find Surplus City or whatever. I didn't know LA had gun stores like that. I had no idea. But apparently they do. And I mean, I have to admit, I know it's your thing, but as a kid, when he's putting on, as ridiculous as it is, when he's putting on the face paint and everything, and he takes that AK and rests it on his shoulder, and there's smoke for some reason, there's smoke behind him, getting ready. As a kid, I was just like, oh my God, that is the coolest thing I've ever seen in my life. So that's a good one. And the final showdown fight scene. Come on. I mean, guy gets electrocuted and then just shakes it off.
Yeah.
Comes back better and faster, like the $6 Million Man. Like,
Yeah.
that's awesome.
Got some electricity in his veins.
Yeah. I feel good, John. You know, and
Frank
just
High
going
Voltage.
at it. Yeah.
That's a-
Most electrifying man. And
yeah.
In show business.
Captain Blockade.
Yeah.
Oh,
I gotta say the really the whole airplane scene from like him getting on, like he keeps looking back over to the door, like was he gonna like slip out or something? Like what? I was kind of trying to figure out what his motivation was going on there. And then knocks out his Panama Jack there, and then his egress out of the airplane as it takes off is it's
I like.
Well,
Is
say
that
it.
how it is?
classic.
Like it just has that little membrane that he just like rips
Yeah.
through to get to the.
Yeah, that was the 80s back when dogs flew underneath. You couldn't
Yeah.
have your fucking emotional support peacock next to you.
Right.
So Andy, you got to say it. Please don't bother my friend. He's dead
Yeah.
tired.
He's dead tired. Yeah.
Rick Vendetta.
Mhm.
My favorite was anything with Sully. The car chase scene with Sully. Anything starting off with like she just said, "Hey man, I'm not interested." Oh, you fucking whore. That, but
He said it really aggressively too.
and she's like, "Dude, I can't win." But the whole car chase scene, and they in that scene where he killed Sully, they wanted Arnold to actually just hold him up, and Arnold said, "I can't do that."
Yeah, it's his weak arm.
Yeah, so they used a crane to hold Sully up. But then he's like, "Remember when I said I'd kill you last?" He's like,
last.
"That's right, that's right."
lied.
He's like, "Well, I lied," and so he goes back over, and I don't know
Yeah.
how far he walked away from Ray Don Chong at this point, but she's like, "What happened to Sully?" I
I
let
let
him
him go.
Like, where
You let him
what?
go.
There's just some dead body, and that's where all the dead bodies
You
are. They're
didn't,
at the bottom of Mulholland,
Yeah.
you didn't hear him screaming until he hit the ground?
I know. Well, how far did you go down the road there?
Took it like a man. Quiet
Brie
till the end.
Blitz.
I'm gonna have to go with the mall fight. Was just fun to watch and couldn't go wrong with that. There was just like so many different things going on at the same time, and I love a good action sequence.
He's one gigantic motherfucker.
Yeah. I just loved watching all the different pieces come together for that fight and then figuring and how they escaped. It was just really fun.
Is there any scenes you guys didn't like?
That's
No.
probably
That
a
is a
longer
really
list.
silly question. That's
Yeah, that's why I'm not forcing you guys to answer.
The slash
It's still
slash
mostly
scene. I hate it.
So your favorite and least favorite is the same scene?
No,
Jeez.
that's a different scene. That's
No,
a
it's the
lead up.
same scene.
I said the mall fight, not the
Right
part
there.
where Sully is saying
It's all
this
in
place
the
used
it's
to
all
be
in the mall
great
scene.
to pick up Slash. Like I hated that
It was
interaction
to
so
hunt
much.
slash. Let's get it
Yeah.
right.
Whatever. That's worse.
Oh,
Hunt.
You
it's really
guys-
confusing as to why he calls
So you automatically
Yeah.
assume your women are prey.
General Kirby there, because I mean, like the only reason I could figure is like, yeah, call Kirby, like what, in case you fail? Like, I mean, he had enough to go kill everyone. He kills everyone, and then it's like, yeah, just come for cleanup. Like
and
he's
and
higher
here's
ranked than you.
another problem was Kirby's coming because there might be a fight on his hands, and he's still wearing that stupid sweater.
Yeah.
Like, what kind of special forces
Command sweater.
wears that goddamn sweater?
Nobody's mentioned Paxton showing up.
Right, the
Yeah,
air
Bill
traffic
Paxton,
control.
the Coast Guard guy.
Yeah. That might have been my second favorite scene.
He makes cameos in Arnold's movies.
Yeah,
Yeah, that might have been the first sighting of him, right?
What?
probably right.
In,
Well,
in,
that
in an Arnold
Terminator.
movie.
He was in
Yeah.
Terminator.
No, Terminator.
Oh,
Yeah,
Remember
I think
him
he's-
as the bad guy
yeah.
from Brian Thompson from Cobra, where the punks at the beginning?
Yes.
Being short of a six pack.
Oh, I hated trying to focus on the intro with all of that calypso jazz music. Yeah.
Like
Like
steel drums.
Steel drums and jazz and flutes. Just
All
Yeah,
weekend long.
I absolutely hated that.
yeah.
all weekend
yeah.
long. I've been like,
It was taking you on an emotional journey. is
I
what
think
it
that was
is.
the worst part. That was the
I'm
worst
like,
part.
And it never stopped. There was like never a break from it.
Like
It
I'm
was
floating
always-
away on a Zephyr now. Oh,
Yeah, I take it. Yeah, that's awful.
I was feeling good the whole time.
I was like, it's not placing where we are. Like, it's not
Mhm.
relevant to absolutely anything.
I thought it had to do with
Like-
the fact that like the bad guy was Latin American.
But
Of some sort.
Calypso and Steel Drum is not.
I figure in 85, it was just like, you know, the world was a much, much larger place in 1985 than it is in 2023. You know, I
Sure.
mean, like you hear, you know, you can reach out and find somebody instantly, you know, in a second. And so the world back then was much larger. And so people were like, Latin America, ding, 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 ding. They all listen to that. You know, like that's like, you know,
Yeah.
how you sell that to Americans. They're
I
not like,
guess
well, I guess, you know, they
the
would've listened to
Caribbean
it.
is part of South America.
Toss it all in there. It's 1985. Nobody
I'm-
gives a shit
I'm
about.
telling you, take 5 minutes and just watch 48 Hours. And if you think it's out of place in Commando, watch 48 Hours in San Francisco. Exact same soundtrack.
When they were looking for
Exact
Billy
same
Bear.
soundtrack. Billy Bear.
Hmm.
Gans.
Let's do some ratings.
Oh, we don't do it.
You want to do the
I'm
other
going
things
straight to
first?
Hey, we got to do them
Hey.
all anyway.
Yeah.
I'm ready.
Yeah.
I'm ready.
It's fine, man. Whenever you're
So-
ready.
So
Did anybody
before-
give? Did anybody give less than a 10? Let's just.
moving on. Perfect. Our first perfect 10 minute. Or before we go into our ratings, I just want to say like things that I look for in a good action movie to put into my perfect film. This movie almost hits all of them, and I think it's missing like one thing. But I'll start off with every good action film. It has to have like an ex-soldier, ex-CIA, ex-FBI, something along those lines, right?
Yeah.
We already hit on a good gun loadout scene. This film fucking nailed it.
Yeah.
One-liners from beginning to end. Once again, this film nailed it.
Yeah.
No reloading. What's like the minimal around the reloading? Like we don't need that shit. Like the John Wick fanboys could fucking gouge their eyes out watching this movie.
Mhm.
The one thing that it's missing is a self-repairing scene
Oh
where
yeah,
you're
like
stitching yourself up.
yeah.
Almost gave it to us.
He almost.
You almost get
Almost.
it.
It was right there.
He takes that shrapnel and has
Like,
to retreat the tool shed.
Even after I watched it 3 times this weekend, I still when at that scene, I'm like, dude, just put a staple in it or something. You know, pack it full of potting soil. You're in the greenhouse.
yeah,
or
grab
the,
it like
the
fucking
garden
yeah.
shed. You know, like put some
Some mulch.
weed killer on there.
I was thinking like put some gunpowder and light it to cauterize it.
Yeah,
You know?
that's
Right.
another.
Yeah, like yeah,
A
pour some
classic.
some plant food in there and light it on fire. Some
Or,
ammonia. Or
I mean,
some-
he's
don't know.
You guys are
Ex-military.
creative.
Ex-military, take some 800 milligram Motrin. You know, just
Yeah,
something
probably-
that's
He
accurate.
reaches into his breast pocket and pulls out.
Fucking ibuprofen.
Wash it down with a monster.
Yeah.
And then the relationship love B story was very minimal, which I also appreciate. I don't need all that romantic jazz.
It depends on if it's, you go with my backstory or with Cindy.
Back
You go with
door
my
stuff.
backstory, it was prevalent.
With all right, with all that being said, Brigadier General, you just keep getting fucking on-field promotions, man.
What's going on?
Battlefield.
Mason, President Mason Bricks. What is your rating and why?
I like this movie a
Dixie
lot. I
Cups.
do.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with a 7.5 on it. I like the movie quite a bit. It's like I said, it's not the best movie in the world, but it's a lot of fun, and you can watch it super fast. And yeah, it's a good, and it's if you it's almost prime body Arnold. So you get the log carrying scene and stuff, and they're like ultimate masculinity in like one solid package, carrying a big old log, walking around. You get just over the top nonsense violence, and it's not even bloody. It's just it's just guys getting their shirts with holes blown in them. Yeah, 7. It's awesome. It's a cool movie. I'll watch it whenever it's on. I'll probably watch it again within like the next month or so. And but I'll seek it out. But everybody I know has already seen this movie. Like I can't tell anybody about it, you know. Shit, man, I'm 40. You know, if I'm telling somebody like, you ever seen Commando? They say no and they're my age, I probably just delete them from my life. Like, I don't know what you've done with it with your whole existence, but whatever.
7 or 7.5?
7.5, 7.5.
Jack Dagger.
So this movie, I mean, it checks every block for an 80s movie, for an Arnold movie. You know, like everybody said, it's peak Arnold. This movie is the reason I don't need any of that nutrienics or whatever that Frank Thomas is pushing for low T or low testosterone. This movie does everything you need for you, man. I'm telling you, it's got it all. So with that in mind, even with its flaws, which are very, very minimal, I'm going with an 8.5. This is an 8.5.
Captain Blockade.
Yeah, I gotta go 8.5 as well. You know, in the Holy Trinity, I put it third, below Predator and Running Man. But I mean, that's the only thing I can say about it. Bad. I don't know why I can't place the Calypso music. I guess I was paying attention to everything else. I also completely forgot the Speedo.
How
scene
could
that I
you
just saw
not hear
now.
it?
I don't know.
I mean, what was
It's
Ray
so
Dawn
obnoxious.
focusing on there? You think she was able to just focus on the information he was telling her right then?
She's like, what the
Get to
fuck
the
did-
scene with a
She's
straight face
drinking
like
that in.
Are we really doing this, Arnold? Yeah. Okay.
You could see her boner.
Right.
You said Kirby Commander, Cobra Commander. You want me to call? What's that?
Yeah. How am I calling him? You just, they'll get a hold of him. Just tell them who you're with. The Coast Guard will find him, that was trying to tell us not to, take off or whatever we were doing. Because we don't have an approved flight plan.
What was your rating?
8.5.
Rick Vendetta.
8.5. Macho. Just look behind me. I mean, that right there is 8.5 itself. I've always been entertained by this. This is a remote dropper for
He's
me.
putting on his baits.
Yeah, now he's putting on his uncomfortable shoes. He's going to get blisters. Part 2, he's nursing, is self-medicating those blisters on his feet. It's Arnold. I love anything Arnold and Stallone. When you get stuff like this where you're just killing people and nothing's going to happen to them, it's a great movie. So 8.5.
Breathe Blitz.
So I think it was a really fun movie. I know that there are people my age who haven't seen this, I'm sure. And I work with a bunch of people underage that have definitely not seen this. And I think I could get away with pointing them to it without being horribly offended. There are some offensive things and some stereotypes for sure. But I think it would still be reasonably enjoyable to kids of today. And therefore, I am willing to give this film a 7.5.
Nice. And like, yeah, I just remember like, and Jack Dagger was saying, like, I remember being a kid with like squirt guns or whatever, just loading up, just trying to like mimic like Arnold's. Like, when I think of a loadout scene, this is what I think of. And this is what makes, I fucking love this movie. With that being said, I'm giving this an 8.5 Dixie Cups as well.
We were all in some good agreements on this.
It's like it was like that 90 minutes is like perfect. You didn't have to think about anything, and it was violent without being gory.
Yeah.
It just
There's your scene right there with your disgusting.
Yeah, there's a disgusting tank top.
Yeah.
Look at these dudes. Like, hey, Ray Don, will your dad do a scene? No? Okay, we'll just get this guy then.
let's get into some extra military instruction. I assigned you guys some homework, and I didn't do any of it.
Oh,
Yeah, it totally slipped my mind. I've been working like crazy, but I'm still curious as to what you guys did. So I think I did top 5
Layers.
antagonists, HQs, bases,
Yeah.
whatnot. Let's start with you again. Brigadier General Mason Briggs.
too much to say.
All right. Top 5 villain hangouts slash palaces, whatever. We gotta go with Biff in
Back to the future.
Back to
Back to the Future too.
yeah. That's one of them.
Huh,
I'm
nice.
also a big fan of Brad Wesley's mansion in Roadhouse.
Oh,
Yeah, that's a great
He lives on the lake. He's got
Got a 3-wheel.
he's
got
got
a stuffed polar bear in there.
yeah. So he's got everything he possibly wants, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I'm also a big fan of the Foot Clan's party pad in Teenage Mutant
with
Ninja
the
Turtles.
skateboard ramps and arcades
Yeah.
and
Oh
everything.
yeah.
Oh, great one.
That's a
They
good
had
one.
music going and stuff. The kids were smoking.
Cigarettes.
Cigarette. I'm assuming drugs too. I don't know if there was a drug test to be in the Foot Clan. Jabba's palace. Pretty much any palace, I think, that has like a monster pit or
Sarlacc, yeah.
something to feed your enemies.
Yeah.
Something to
Feed your enemies too.
feed your enemies too. Yes, and I'm gonna do a little throwback to an older episode. Tango and Cash.
Yep.
You guys got like 95 TVs.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I threw it back. I wanted to make.
And he has like a monster truck fucking
yeah.
arena outside.
It's awesome. So those are I think that's 5. I think I did it. I wrote down a bunch, but then I just have been narrowing it down past couple of days. So
Yeah. That's a good list.
Yeah.
The Biff, great.
Let's go with you, Jack Dagger.
So, I mean, some tradition, some not. I got to go back to my James Bond days and The Spy Who Loved Me, Strongberg. He's got this underwater palace and it pops out of the water. I thought that was cool. It's awesome. Michael Myers' house, the Myers house, whether it's refurbished by a couple of gay dudes or not, whatever.
Bennett and Matrix.
Yeah. And also some more James Bond, the space station and Moonraker. I mean, Bond villains had all the money in the world, so I don't really know why they were trying to take over the world.
You could have did all 5 Bond villain ones though.
Yeah. Oh, for sure, man, for sure. I'm gonna go with the Legion of Doom in the swamp from the Super Friends. I think that was I don't know why I thought it was neat. And then any G.I. Joe Cobra hideout, because they weren't trying to hide it, man. I mean, every hideout was in the shape of a cobra. All you had to do was fly over the jungle and you'd find it. So much like, Matrix and his stealth, Cobra was like, nah, man, we're hiding, but we ain't hiding.
Yeah.
So those are my 5.
It's pretty good.
Captain Blockade.
Yeah. Number 5, I started out with I mean, it makes sense when you think about it, but a little unconventional, like the alien hive / nest kind of thing. Like it's a good villain layer of sorts, especially when you consider you have like the queen or whatever, and then all the other ones around it. So that works out pretty good.
all gross and weird.
Yeah. The Black Fortress from Krull. Pretty badass.
Oh.
That's a good one. That's a good one, man.
Yeah, then I went for Scaramanga's Island from Man with the Golden Gun. It was a cool one for the James Bond, plug. Then I had to go with the Underground Lair from Austin Powers.
Yeah.
And then number 1, I would say from the first John Wick, the nightclub where the douchey son hung out at was a good boss
For a
lair.
soak and then get your fucking Jersey Shore on.
Kevin Nash is your bodyguard at the door.
Oh yeah.
Diesel.
All day. Big sexy.
Yep.
Rick Vendetta.
All right. Since they made this a movie, Skeletor's Snake Mountain. When I was a kid, I had all those toys. I had Snake Mountain and it had a 1MC. I don't know if you guys remember that toy. Herschel, maybe you do. Snake Mountain had a 1MC.
Yeah.
I do remember that.
Number 4, Freddy Krueger, The Boiler Room and Your Dreams. That's where he hung out. Number 3, The Del Fuego's Bar and Wild Hogs. Do you guys remember that one when John Travolta accidentally blew it up? And then at the end, they did that stupid home makeover. And they said, move that bus.
Yeah.
And they moved the bus with a rebuilt Del Fuego's Bar.
Jeez.
And they're
Why
all
would you be bringing up Wild Hogs, man?
Because I saw it recently and I always think that's a funny scene at the end.
Yeah.
You know. Number 2, The Lost Boys Cave, the whole, had the big earthquake. This place took a header. Now it's ours.
Yep.
Got Mr. Mojo Rising picture way back there. Yeah. Number 1, Dr. Evil's Volcano Lair. So the old James Bond tie-in there. And that's my 5, but we'll see what Bree has to say.
Let's go, Bree.
Okay. I did pick only one 007 bad guy. I'm not nearly as fluent as you guys are, so excuse me, but I'm going with the Poison Garden because that was pretty freaking cool. It seemed like it had everything, and I like gardens. I'm going with Isengard from The Lord of the Rings. This is where Saruman held up, and I'm like, if you're gonna have a giant tower and a complex, that seems pretty cool.
Yeah.
I went with Poison Ivy's lair from Batman Forever, where she like takes over that hotel and like turns it into a giant jungle hotel. It's pretty cool.
More flowers. Yeah.
I don't know, I was just always sticks out in my memories. Skull Rock from Hook is where the Jolly Roger, Hook's ship pulls in, and I felt like that place had it all. And it wasn't nearly as filthy as you would expect a pirate cove to be.
They weren't Somali pirates.
Okay.
I got nothing to say.
I guess that makes a difference.
Well, I mean, I've seen their camps
oh,
on TV.
I see.
No.
I was like, okay, Joe.
No racial undertones or anything.
Just from personal experience, they're not great pirate camps.
It was on the news.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going with V from Vendetta. He had that whole underground subway, really cool bachelor pad thing going on. And then was that all I said? Oh, I was gonna go with the Red Keep from the Game of Thrones. Because that place seemed pretty cool. And there's no way that most of the people that weren't in there weren't considered villains. That was my 5.
Yeah.
Excellent
Like I
lists.
Yeah, that was awesome. Like I said, I've totally forgot about this myself, but just some quick hitters. Austin Powers, Dr. Evil's there with the fucking trapdoor chairs so you could kill your fucking people.
Yeah.
Tango and Cash, I fucking love that place with the monster truck rally compound outside. Castle Grayskull, and the Ice Palace from Tomorrow Never Dies, another James Bond villain. Probably a bunch of cool James Bond villains. My number 2, assignment number 2 was the cruise book quotes, and I think there's should be some bangers in here. Let's start with you again, Mason Bricks. And then do a cool little cruise book pose when you're done. I'm just kidding.
I wrote one for myself, and then I wrote one for somebody else. But I know that anyway. So mine is, why don't they just call him Girl George? It would cut down on all the confusion.
That must have been a Bud Light can.
And then I wrote one for the guy that killed Osama bin Laden. Hey, Osama, you know how I said I'd kill you last? I lied.
Jack Dagger.
Oh man, it's just tough. It's really tough. So I'm gonna go with, and I just changed the name too. It's I love listening to your little pissant soldiers try to talk tough. If McCombs were here, he'd laugh too.
Dude, no.
So,
I guess I'd have to
what
know
I got, man.
McCombs.
But
Oh gosh.
we'll let Andy tell, or excuse me, Adam tell you all about it.
Captain Blockade. I like that one. Captain
Yeah.
Blockade.
I said to go with I'm dead tired.
It's relevant. You're always tired in the Navy.
Right? Yeah.
Rick Vendetta.
Mine is this ship used to be a good place to hunt Slash.
I told you I guessed your.
Yeah.
I told you I guessed
Oh yeah.
your quote.
I also wrote "stick around."
Once I saw it, I was like, "Oh, that's Chris all day."
I'm switching
Bree-
up that one. I'm
He's the only
changing my
person I've ever
character.
heard say that word.
Bree Blitz. What's your cruise book quote?
The one that I felt was most relevant to me in my time in the Navy was, I can't believe this macho bullshit.
Yes. I guessed right.
You did guess right, Captain Blockade. You guessed right.
Herschel, you actually look like Mel Gibson.
Oh no.
You guys seen Mel Gibson lately?
Yeah.
Same here.
Pretty much. Yeah.
I think he's got a little more up here.
Yeah.
But
I
I
don't
am
think
modeling
so.
the beard.
Yeah.
After
Did any of you
Threatened
guys
to bury somebody in the
Herschel?
rose garden, Herschel?
Herschel,
maybe
did you
he's just
think about,
taller.
Did you think about the caves for the hills have eyes?
Actually, no, I didn't. That wasn't even on the radar, man.
So
It's-
I'm gonna do something that I always bug Chris about, and I have 3, but I think these 3 are perfect for cruise book quotes.
Yeah.
One is
You get so mad when
I
we
know.
go over the
but
limit.
these are I really enjoy
You
these.
didn't do any of your EMI, but you made up 3 other quotes.
Number one
I'm
is,
an Insta influencer.
Number 1 is, come on, you piece of shit, fly or die.
Yeah.
Number 2 is, he's one gigantic motherfucker. And then the quote that I'm using for the cruise book quote is, I eat green berets for breakfast.
And I'm very hungry.
There you go.
I thought all of those would have been taken.
The Green Beret was just too easy.
Too
And
easy.
then when I watched the movie for the second time and I heard him mumble that while he was like thumbing through the paper, the one that is call him Girl George, I was like, perfect for like what's happening right now, dude. And that seems like something like, that you'd put in a cruise book.
Yeah.
All right, so let's ask the ultimate question: is this a deployment movie? Mason Brooks.
Absolutely. It's short, getting things done, action, beefcake, end of story, done. Deployment movie all day long. In fact, I watched it multiple times on deployment. I know who I watched it with. I watched it with at least, I know Andy I've watched it with before for sure. I've watched it with both Rick and Jack Dagger. For sure. I know that, 3 people at least for sure on this panel I've seen this movie with and laughed our asses off at all the ridiculous, this shit, all the ridiculous stuff you could possibly think of. And this clown of a somebody's,
This
Let
theme
off
is
some
coming out of
steam.
my-
you don't have to call me dad. You can just call me Bennett. Yeah, somebody's shitty stepdad comes in there as the villain. Like, get out of here. Yeah, it's ridiculous. But yeah, it's a deployment movie. And this is exactly why, because it's a great time to watch and just like kind of poke fun at, even though it's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Jack Dagger, is this a deployment movie?
Absolutely 100% For everything he just said, it's short. You don't have to think about it. You can come in at any point and you are entertained, whether you watch the whole thing or one scene. It doesn't matter. It's instantly quotable. It's instantly laugh-atable. I guess that's a word term. But yeah, 100%, man. This is a deployment movie.
Captain Blockade. Is
Yeah,
this a
110.
deployment movie?
110%. I mean, it's all been said. Yeah.
Rick Vendetta. Is this a deployment movie?
Oh yeah, I'd be late for watch to finish this, but like I said, you could just come in at any point and you're entertained, and you just say, "Hey, what's going on in this movie?" Someone will say, "Oh, they kidnapped his daughter. He's going to go get her back," and you're like, "Oh, I got it, understood."
There you go.
No more plot points needed.
Caught up. Bree Blitz. Is this a deployment movie?
Yes, it is a deployment movie. It's a show where everything's made up and the points don't matter, so it works.
Absolutely.
And that's also a yes, a big yes for me. This is absolutely a deployment movie. We should have like a all-time deployment movies, and this should be penned in right away. So that does it for me. Did I miss anything?
We don't do
Gonna do
recasts
this next
anymore, do
movie
we?
pick, right?
No. Did you recast everybody?
I did.
Am I solid?
Why don't you go for it then, since you did the work?
Let's hear it.
Okay. That Arius dude, Benjamin Bratt, Bennett. Bennett, I made Nick Offerman. Enriquez, I made Carl Malone. And then Carl Urban, I made Sully. I forgot that we weren't doing that.
Man.
Yeah.
Oh, damn. Never mind.
Like Nick Offerman just recently played
A gay dude.
a gay dude, so this works perfectly for
And
me.
Sabrina's backstory.
Well, I'm just
who's-
thinking of like what soft old guy could I find in there with a cool mustache?
Her Commando fan fiction that she's writing.
Yeah, I made the fanfic for it. for
Erotic
sure.
fan fiction.
Captain Blockade, give us your category and what movie are we watching next?
Yeah, so I had 2000 to 2010 comedy or drama, and it was tough. It was not an easy pick. There was a lot of good options to go for, either in dramas or comedies. I wasn't going to do another Wes Anderson, even though I could go with like Royal Tenenbaums or something, but ultimately I went with the comedies. And since I used my mulligan on the 80s horror again, which somehow found me, I was like, no, I'll give Chris a chance to maybe get it so he can force us to watch Sleepaway Camp or something.
Force us.
But I'm going with the 2008 classic, Paul Rudd. Was it Sean William Scott?
Oh,
Christopher Mintz of Role Models, which I figure works with the LARPing aspect of coming off of the cinematic release of D&D and all that. So
And the chainmetal shirt that we had in this movie.
right, yeah. So your top five will be since it's called Role Models, we'll go top 5 qualities in a role model.
Oh,
And then
based on characters from movies or just in general?
just in general, yeah. What makes a good role model. And then I'll go with the recast or reboot. Just pick 4 people to if you're gonna recast it, you can use people like of the 2000s, or if you want to reboot it, you could use current day actors, which technically Paul Rudd could stay in the movie because he doesn't age, but yeah.
So is that 5 recast?
I did 4. 4 is enough.
Oh, okay, 4. 4 good.
Yeah.
4 good. 4
You don't have to use Carl Urban unless you want to, I guess. We're not married to that in this season, so just like 4 people to recast. Or if
You
you
did pick
reboot
a movie with kids, which was one of the biggest complaint about recasting.
I think you could pick that Bobby Thompson kid too, because he doesn't grow taller.
right? Yeah.
Absolutely love this movie.
What's that, Jeff?
I love this movie. It
Yeah,
cracks
it's
me
great. I
up.
think I own it on DVD. If you
And
don't,
I'm gonna
own it,
go. I'm gonna
it's
go with
on,
role model
Prime.
qualities from characters in movies that I admire anyway. So
That's fine. Yeah, you can rent or buy it on Prime for $4. So, if you don't own it already,
who picks after Andy?
I think
Sabrina.
it's me.
Bree Blitz. Yeah,
Can you give me sharing permissions?
Chris sharing permissions.
I think I just did it.
You.
I'm not good at the Zoom thing, guys.
All learning.
You get one mulligan if it lands on something you've already chose last season.
There's some lag here.
Bree.
Free for all. Does that mean any decade or anything?
Yeah.
Anything.
Yeah.
That could be
That's
any
an
movie,
anything?
any
Yeah.
movie from any time.
And you either get one free for all or one AFI 100. You don't get both though.
Holy moly. That's a lot of pressure, guys.
Yeah,
That's a lot of responsibility.
Perceivably, you have a favorite movie or something.
Do not
watching
pick
Blue
Gone, do not
Crash.
pick Gone with the Wind. I am not watching 5 hours of anything.
I've never watched Gone with the Wind.
Good.
I'll pick a movie that I know
Oh.
and that I enjoy. And
Make us expand our minds.
I've already thought of one. It's going to be
See?
great. You're going to love it.
Yeah.
You will probably cry
I like
or
it a
think
lot.
about crying since you're so macho. None of you can.
Right.
Then we have
I
to
didn't
admit,
become a
is that
brigadier
one of your,
general.
If I was a lesser man, I would probably cry at this.
Right.
This is what I expect.
Mhm.
All right.
You're in control, Sabrina. Say goodnight and end the stream.
Well, you all say goodnight.
Good
Good night.
night.
Good
Never
night.
mind.
See you
Good
next month.
night.
Ahoy.